Hello folks. The fate of President Joe Biden's student loan debt relief plan hangs in the balance as the Supreme Court heard arguments in two cases, challenging the program's legality.
Wait, hold on a second. President Biden has a plan to forgive student loans? Why wasn't I informed? As an alien, I have plenty of student loans that could use forgiving.
Yeah, I want in on this too. Student loans are for the birds.
Well, Zoorgon, I'm sure plenty of people would love to have their student loans forgiven. But conservative Supreme Court justices appeared skeptical about the plan's legality during Tuesday's hearing.
That's interesting. But what are the grounds for their skepticism?
The challengers argue that the plan, which would allow eligible borrowers to cancel up to $20,000 in debt, violates the Constitution and federal law because it circumvents Congress, which has the sole power to create laws related to student loan forgiveness.
Wait a minute, Jane. What does circumvents mean? I'm a parrot, I don't speak legalese.
It means that the administration's proposal goes around Congress to enact a policy.
I see. But didn't the court also mention something called the Major Questions Doctrine?
Yes, Zoorgon. Conservative justices indicated that they could decide the case based on that legal argument. Essentially, federal agencies cannot initiate sweeping new policies that have significant economic impacts without having express authorization from Congress.
So, the administration can't just do whatever they want without Congress's approval.
Precisely, Polly. And the conservative justices brought up the Major Questions Doctrine last year when they blocked Biden's COVID vaccination or test requirement for larger businesses.
So, what are the chances of the plan actually going into effect?
Well, the program has been blocked since the 8th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals issued a temporary hold in October, and there are major doubts it will ever go into effect. The court has a 6-3 conservative majority, and many observers think that if the court finds that the challengers had standing to sue, it will almost certainly then conclude that Biden's plan is unlawful.
But what about the people who have student loans? What will happen to them?
That's a good question, Polly. The program would affect more than 40 million borrowers and cost an estimated $400 billion. Some conservative justices, including Neil Gorsuch, also raised the issue of the fairness of canceling student loan debt for some borrowers and not others.
That does seem like a fair point. But what about the legal standing of the challengers? Do they have a case?
That's another key threshold question, Zoorgon. Only Amy Coney Barrett repeatedly examined whether challengers had legal standing. Roberts and Brett Kavanaugh focused their questions on the Major Questions Doctrine, which could indicate that they believe the challengers have standing. But we'll have to wait and see what the court decides.
Well, it has been harmed by the student loan relief plan. Barrett noted that Missouri's claim to standing was based on its interest in the loan authority's financial health, rather than direct injury from the relief plan itself. Oh my feathers, this is a complicated legal issue. I hope the justices can sort it out and make a fair decision for all parties involved.
I must say, Polly, that the legal system on this planet never ceases to amaze me. But I do wonder, what about the borrowers who are struggling to pay back their student loans? Shouldn't the government offer them some relief?
Well, Zoorgon, that's certainly a valid point, but this case is not just about student loan relief. It's also about the balance of power between the executive branch and Congress, and the scope of federal agencies' authority to make sweeping policy changes.
I see. It's not just about helping people, it's about the rules of the game.
Exactly, Zoorgon. And as the Supreme Court justices deliberate on this case, they'll be weighing those issues very carefully. It's not just a matter of whether they agree with the policy or not, but whether it falls within the boundaries of the law.
Well, I for one am glad we have such thoughtful and careful judges on the bench. It gives me hope that justice will be served.
Yes, and as an alien observing your planet, I must say that your legal system is quite impressive, even if it can be perplexing at times.
Well, that's high praise coming from you, Zoorgon. And as for our viewers at home, we'll be keeping a close eye on this case as it develops and bringing you the latest updates.
And who knows, maybe one day we'll be reporting on a student loan relief plan that actually becomes law.
Or perhaps a legal system that is a bit less perplexing, but still bursting with interesting and engaging cases.
Only time will tell, Zoorgon. But for now, that's all the time we have. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.